All right, Trevor, so why don't you tell me what a C of A is?
Okay, C of A stands for Certificate of Analysis, and basically that's a report from the lab that shows the results of all the testing that they did for that product.
Okay, and from what lab? Is this like third-party lab? Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, third-party lab means it's a lab that is not affiliated with the manufacturer of the product. So manufacturers may do their own internal testing for quality control purposes, just to make sure their product meets their own internal standards. But you would want a third party to verify the final product, whether it's a concentration or safety measures. You always want the third party verification because that third party lab has no interest in no financial interest in having that product pass or fail.
Okay, and so that's a reason why it's important, but why else is it important for consumers to read about third-party lab testing or to understand what that means?
Yeah, it's important for consumers to look for that third-party testing because that's gives you more confidence in the product itself, whether it's the concentration, the potency, or what they claim is in there, or if they say it's 0 THC, is it really 0 THC? So a lot of things that matter to the consumer will be on that third-party testing certificate.
Okay, and I guess this is really important to do because CBD isn't regulated right now, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more regulated in the future. Right now, the industry is kind of in its infancy, and CBD has kind of exploded. So, what's on the market? I mean, consumers have a lot of choice. There's a lot of products, and I would encourage people to do their own research, their own due diligence, to make sure that the products that they're buying have been thoroughly tested.
And what exactly are we testing for?
We test here at this lab. We test for almost everything that that you would be concerned about. I mean, the industry is evolving, of course, so more and more things will want to be tested for. Right now, we test for cannabinoids and terpenes. We also test for safety measures like microbial contamination, pesticide contamination, heavy metals, residual solvents, that sort of thing.
Okay, so to me as a consumer, I think it would be pretty important to have one of these done on a product I'm going to use, ingest, or put on my skin, especially because CBD isn't regulated yet.
Absolutely. So if you're buying, whether you're buying in store or online, the CBD products are becoming more mainstream. So you may see them in your mainstream retail outlets or online, and you would want to before you buy just check usually on the website or on the product label itself. It may have a QR code that links to the certificate of analysis, or it may have the website where you can go to find the certificate of analysis. If you're buying online, there may be a link to the certificate of analysis or to the place where you can find it.
Okay, so it seems that if companies are having this done, they'll want you to know about it. So it should be pretty easy to find on their website or on the product bottle itself, like you said. That's good.
Absolutely. And if you don't see anything like that, I wouldn't, don't be afraid to contact the manufacturer and say, hey, has this batch of whatever been tested and can I see the C of A? And they should, be able to provide that pretty easily.
And do you know, you said batch, like what does that mean? How often they're testing it or?
Yeah, again, there's no set regulation for that. So you might want to ask them, how often do you test, once per batch, or, if your batch is 100,000 units and they do they test one unit, is that representative of the entire batch? Or they say, oh, we test every batch of 1,000 units. So that's a little more representative of the batch. So This is an example of one of our certificate of analysis. This is for a sample that we did for another client. So the client information is blacked out. This is for a CBD-infused facial cleanser. So I'm going to go over a little bit about how to read the certificate of analysis, the C of A. One important thing to note is that every lab will have their own format of C of A. So it's not going to look exactly the same every time you pull up a C of A. It's probably going to look different unless it's been tested by the same lab as the last product that you looked at. So I'll go over a little bit of what ours looks like, and the information that you're going to find on ours is very similar to the information you should be able to find on every other C of A. So at the top of the C of A is the lab name, and then certificate of analysis. Here's where the client information is. It's blacked out here. This sample number, that is the unique sample identifying number that was assigned at the lab for this particular sample. There's a little more information down here about the strain, the batch number, lot number. These dates are when the sample was received, when the report was generated. And then here is the actual name of the product, and we just basically put whatever the name of the product that the client manufacturer wanted us to put there. And it's a little hard to see in the picture. That's why we put the name of the product there. A little bit more information if there isn't any information regarding that product. And then we have a picture. We take the best picture we can of the product. And then these boxes here where it says safety, and these boxes here for cannabinoids and terpenes, the green boxes are all just summary results. It just says pass, fail here. NT means not tested, or it might actually say not tested. So we'll go over section by section. The cannabinoids section. So the summary says no THC was detected in this sample. CBD is 411.6 milligrams. That's 411.6 milligrams CBD in this entire bottle. THCA, nothing. Moisture, not tested. And then the actual breakdown of cannabinoids is right here. So these are all the cannabinoids that we test for. LOQ stands for limit of quantification. That is the lowest level at which we can see that we would actually quantify. If it's less than that, then we wouldn't be reporting that number. So here it looks like we found 411.6 milligrams per unit of CBD. Everything else says less than LOQ. That doesn't mean it wasn't there. It just means we cannot detect it above our limit of quantification. And we have two different units. So this is milligrams per unit, and this is milligrams per gram. That's the same result expressed in two different ways. And then in the terpenes, this is your terpene box here. So these are all the different terpenes that we test for. And the major three are going to be up in these green boxes. This one, only orange is the major one. The delta-limonene is what was detected there. A lot of times in CBD-infused topicals or CBD-infused edibles, you're not going to find a whole lot of terpenes unless they're added in the recipe. Usually, if it's dosed with like isolate or whatnot, those don't have any terpenes in it. So usually you're not going to find a whole lot of terpenes unless it's added in. Okay, and then at the bottom here, it's got the lab address. It's got our ILAC MRA and PJLA badges. That just shows that we are accredited, and it has our accreditation number right underneath. That's the signature of the person that's certifying. That's my signature. And then on your C of A could be one page. This one is 2 pages because there's more results on this side. This is all cannabinoids and terpenes. That's kind of like the potency and terpene profile of these product. Everything else on this side is all safety and public health stuff. So pesticides, it shows here, there's our LOQs. We didn't find any. ND here means non-detected. So LOQs, the limit here has to do with if there is a state required limit that over which you would call it a failure, then the limit is there. Units are ppm, it'll show right there, and then the result is right here. These are all ND, so this sample didn't find any pesticides in this sample, and then the pass-fail is on this side. Microbials, right here. So again, in the upper right-hand corner, it'll say pass-fail overall, and then if you get down into it, the limit here, these are all the microbials that we test for. So limit, the units are in CFUs per gram. CFU stands for colony forming units. And these are the results right here. And again, ND means not detected. NR means not reported. NT means not tested. So it may be listed there, but if we didn't test for it, it'll say NT for not tested or NR for not reported. And then the status on pass-fail on the right-hand side. This box down here is heavy metals. We currently test for 4 different heavy metals. They're listed right there. Again, limit of quantification. If there is a state limit, a pass-fail limit, it'll be here. And then the result is here. This particular sample, it's all less than the LOQ, pass. Mycotoxins in this box right here. We test for 2 different mycotoxins. Again, LOQ limit, result, and then status pass-fail. This box for residual solvents, there isn't anything there because we didn't test for residual solvents in this particular sample, so it'll say not tested here. And then the summary box here will say not tested for solvents. And then the bottom looks exactly the same.
All right, great. This is all really good to know. Thank you so much.